lost 9 kilos in 10 weeks. Weight loss has slowed down the last couple of weeks. Calories, Geordie's just dropped them a little bit, but macros are completely even now, so 30 carb, 35 protein, 35 fat. Food intake, food's been spot on.
So he's lost 1 kilo in 4 weeks. Is that right? 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Cal, so you said that you're plateauing, and we want to just go through everything that you need to do if you are plateauing, but first we want to find out if you actually are plateauing in the first place, because if you're not plateauing in the first place, then the solutions we're going to give you are irrelevant. So
yeah, plateauing is it's a common thing that happens at any stage in a program. A few of you have experienced some of it already, but we want to get really clear on what plateauing is. And a plateau is essentially you're stuck on the same results, so same weight, same waist, same other measurements. You're not seeing any physical change at all for at least I would say a 2-week period when nothing else has changed. So you're stuck to the same thing constantly for at least 2 weeks. Nutrition wise, training wise, nothing's interrupted you, and then you plateau. Okay.
So a lot of dudes might think that they're plateauing, and we just want to make sure that, yeah, are you definitely plateauing? And Cal, we'll get into you specifically in a second, but there's the two major things about that is, are they actually staying the same? And if they are staying the same, are you actually following everything properly? Are you doing everything properly? And we talk about all the time, we tell you guys, what gets measured gets managed. So we have no way of knowing whether you are doing everything properly if you're not measuring what's going on. If you're not keeping your measurements consistent, if you're weighing yourself at the same time, naked, same time in the morning each week, with your waist measurements or whatever, you're getting the tape in the right spots as well. And then with your food intake, you're tracking it properly. Because then we can have a look at it and go, oh, this is why he's not losing any weight, or this is why he's put on weight, or this is why, whatever. We need that data. Well, without that data, it's just a guessing game.
Yeah, so the problem with plateauing is a lot of people just jump to the conclusion that they're plateauing straight away. It's an easy thing just to say, oh, I've plateaued.
And that's why they give up. Because I tried that, but, I lost a few kilos and then I didn't lose any more because I plateaued.
As Liam was saying, there's so many factors that come into it that you have to make sure that you're measuring them properly, and that way we can have an overview and a look at and see exactly where you're going wrong. So if you're eating the same foods, you've done the exact same training, and nothing has changed for a minimum 2-week period, then we can go, all right, something must be happening here. You might not be in calorie deficit. Let's drop the calories a little bit. But if your calories have been changing over the last few weeks, like a lot of people's are, if you're changing your macros constantly, if routine's changing with life, you're working harder some days, or you're not working so much, or you went away for the weekend, these kind of factors can have an effect on your weight, which is why weight is just mass. Yeah, so it's mass made up of muscle and fat. Yeah, so if you're losing fat and gaining muscle, some weeks you might stay at the same weight, which is why we're going for that 0.75 kilo average. So the surest way to know is that if you look at your weight loss graph from the start of this journey, if you're losing 0.75 kilos on average, you're not plateauing. Yeah, even if 1 or 2 weeks you don't actually lose weight that week, if on average it's still at that 0.75, you're not plateauing.
That's a really important thing to recognise, is that, it's your average weight loss over time. If you have 2 weeks in a row where you only lose a couple 100 grams, but your average is still going down, you're not plateauing. It might seem like you are, and you're like, oh, fuck, I can't do anything more. Like I'm just not going anywhere. I'm only changing a couple 100 grams, but
that's the reason we felt it really important to make this video, to make sure that, one, we just get really clear on what plateauing is, so you don't panic and so you don't feel down on yourself and feel like you're stuck and feel like you've got nowhere to go, because it's not a real plateau. Yeah, so if we can get that really clear, it's a better mindset for you going forward, because you're not so worried about plateauing, you're not stressed that nothing's happening, and that leads to giving up, obviously. Yeah.
And weight is, like, you guys, you guys looking bigger, and you said, Cal, yourself, you're getting a lot more definition in your pecs. Like, you're putting on muscle mass. And remember, like, muscle is quite heavy. So, weight isn't necessarily the best measurement, which is why, the measurements around your body fat and the centimeters around your waist and your pant size and stuff are much more valuable in terms of whether you are getting results or not. I mean, so for you, you know, you've gone from 95 kilo 2 weeks ago, then 94 kilo last week, and 94 kilo this week.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's a very small window, but you still lost a kilo in that 3 weeks. So you're still averaging 0.33 kilos per week. Okay, so although that's less than the 0.75 kilos, like what? How much have you lost since the start?
So you lost 9 kilos total from the start. So
9 kilos in 10 weeks.
Yeah.
You're well above 0.75 kilos per week, which is what we're trying to aim for. Okay, so even with these last 3 weeks, you're not plateauing. But as we said, weight isn't the issue. Like you know, your weight is going to fluctuate. It's going to go up and down. You know, but let's look at your centimeters around your waist.
They've come down. So, like you said yourself, it's down to 90 now. It was 92 last week. A couple of weeks before that was 93 and now 94. That's still coming down. That is a sure sign that you're losing fat if that waist is coming down. So you might purely be losing centimeters of fat and gaining enough muscle for your weight to be exactly the same.
Yeah.
And really important to note, and then just on your specific case, a few things. One, obviously, you are losing fat because your waist is coming down. Your average, long-term average is still way above 0.75, which is good. And your calories have changed a bit. So your macros are now pretty even. It would have taken maybe your body a week or two. Everyone's different to adjust to that 30, 35 macros. You're a lot even now. You're taking in more carbs. Sometimes your body just retains a bit of that water from the carbs once you start having more again. That's why this average is really important to understand and just not panic.
Yeah, cool. So you're going well, man. That's the lesson here. And we wanted to film this video for everyone to watch as well because it's an important lesson to learn. Like, people just give up when they're actually going really well. They're actually going good. So just keep hanging in there.
Yeah.
And you're doing the right thing, like reaching out to us. This is why we're here, like, to try and help you. But, you know, you can't get too phased by the numbers, you know, in such a short period of time as well. You know, you're doing the right things. You know, it's consistency over time which is going to get you there. And we always say, like, you know, guys have been overweight. Like, if you've been, 100 kilo, you know, for how long?
Yeah.
For years, like 4 or 5 years. You know, how many weeks is that? It's like 250 weeks. And you're saying that, like the last 2 weeks I've only lost a kilo, or 2 weeks out of 250 weeks is a very, very small time scale. You know, we want you to be at your goal weight for 2,000 weeks, you know?
The rest of your life.
So, yeah, so don't expect to get that change in a matter of weeks, you know? Because your body's used to being like that, being overweight, or being at a level where you're a lot heavier.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to take time. You know, but you're smashing it, Cal. So keep it up.
And that's our big message, just to let you know that you are smashing it. You're doing really well. And think about what the body's. The body is trying as hard as it can to hold on to the weight, because that's its protective mechanism. Your body just wants to maintain homeostasis, so it doesn't want to change. So we're doing really well to force it to change, which is what we want. But our message to you is that if we just gave you the answer of, "I'll just keep going, Cal, you'll be fine," obviously that's not good enough, because it's not going to motivate you, and that leads to giving up. So we just want to film this to explain things more, that we're not worried. We're watching your results, we're watching what's happening. Your coach, Geordie, isn't worried. He can see exactly what's happening. We know it's going to continue. You're going to keep getting results as long as you just keep going.
Yeah. And for some reason, if you do end up having a true plateau, well, then we'll have to adjust something. But we'll wait till that time comes, and when it does come, we will modify it and reanalyze and look at your objective measures and see where to go from there. All right?
Perfect, mate. Keep it going.
Awesome, dude.